Hello, this is our second take at doing this after technology failed us. But I am here with my fabulous client, Lizandra, to chat about her experience of being in Amplify and working together over the last 9 months, how she's created her group program and what she's been able to achieve in her business. Lizandra, I would love it if you would introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are and who you help.
Yeah, so I'm Lizandra, I'm a psychotherapist, and I work with relationships, anxiety, and trauma, and a lot with people who have difficult relationships or have had toxic relationships and are generally people pleasers and struggle with setting boundaries.
Yeah. And as I said before, I love this niche because this is one of the niches where people tell me it doesn't work in group. You've got certain standards you have to meet in therapy, which means it can be complex to think about how you transition to group. Was that one of your concerns where before you joined Amplify?
Yeah, definitely. And that was something that I think I probably asked you directly. How can it work for somebody in the line of work that I do? And the fact that you said, I've worked with people before, that was definitely something that really just calmed my mind about joining and made it an easy yes for me.
Awesome. And then if you kind of rewind to when we first chatted, what problems were you feeling in your business that had you thinking about scaling to a group program?
I had a lot of inconsistent months, so it was hard to track just what was coming in. And sometimes I'd have really good months and sometimes not. So I wanted to have something that was a little bit more consistent. And with the one-to-one work that I was doing, a lot of the time I would find it's just very emotionally taxing, the work that I do. So I just wanted to be able to preempt that and not reach the point of burnout and be able to work in a way that I still felt I'd be able to show up for my clients and feel really passionate and excited to be able to do that rather than feeling drained by the work.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so if you think about like your group and your vision, like what did you really want to create out of a group program?
With my one to one work, I found that a lot of people were going through very similar situations, very similar issues and problems. And a lot of the time, they would talk about how lonely and isolating they felt going through that process of change and learning about themselves and learning about their relationships. And I would have so many clients talking about the same thing, and I'd think, oh, like I wish like I could just bunch you all together so you could be in that container together, supporting each other. So that was really where the idea came from. I've got all of these one-to-one clients who are literally talking about the same thing and feeling alone. And how can I put them together so they're not going through that process alone? Because you get so much out of being able to go through it with somebody else who can resonate with your experience and learning from other people at the same time. So that was something that I really wanted to be able to, how can I do it ethically in a way that works with just how I work one to one as well.
And what I love about what you just said as well is sometimes when people talk about transitioning to group, they come at it from they're not going to get as good a result because they've not got that one-on-one attention from me, and they sort of overlook the benefits that you get in a group that you just can't deliver one-on-one. You have your clients far less in their heads because they're surrounded by all these other people going through the exact same thing, and you have that oh, I'm not alone type feeling as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So you had like emotionally intense one-on-one. You saw the benefit. You saw yourself repeating yourself to client after client. So you're like, in a group container, one, it's less emotionally taxing, it's less client delivery hours. But two, they get this benefit of being in a group dynamic and realize that other people are struggling and feel supported through that. I also know you said before to me, like you'd already tried creating a group before, but you didn't massively
Yeah.
what you were doing. Like what went wrong with the first group?
The first one was that I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really check, like I didn't validate the offer. I didn't really have it wasn't very, just very organized or planned. It was kind of like, I've got this thing. Do you want to do this thing? This is where you can do this thing. And then I did another program, but it's like sometimes when you do certain programs, they don't tell you everything. They tell you a very small snippet of it. And then it doesn't quite, when you're trying to actually put it into practice, there's so many pieces that are missing. And so when I found out about Amplify, everything was in there. So all of the questions that I had, and even the questions that I didn't know I had, was in the program. Makes
Awesome.
sense because what I'd done so far, there were so many gaps.
Yeah. Awesome. I didn't know that you'd already invested in a program before Amplify. So when you think then about the steps you took in Amplify, and you said, before you didn't even validate, like what are some of the key steps you took to get to where you are now?
So the key thing was working out who I helped and how. And it was also just making sure that people wanted the thing. That was a massive realization for me. Sometimes I was creating before even asking if people wanted the thing itself. So that was a huge step. And then also just the marketing pieces as well, knowing how to talk about it. And it was a completely different experience than doing it the first time around.
Awesome. And then, so having taken those steps, like you figured out who it was for, you validated it, you figured out like how to talk about it and how to sell it. What have you been able to achieve, like as we are today? What does it look like right now?
So now it's the beta version of the program, and I have 8 people in the program, and I'm getting really good feedback. It's a very supportive space. I'm excited to show up and do the program, and honestly, I didn't actually think that I could get that many people in this first cohort. I've surpassed the number that I wanted.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And like having got these first 8 in, what are you excited to create next?
So I'm just excited about just continuing to create the content for the program and also scaling it and making it bigger, but also it's still having that level of intimacy in the program as well, so that it feels like just a very safe space for the people who are in the program.
Yeah. And Lizandra and me were chatting just before the call, and we were just doing like, income goal projections and numbers in the program. And we just got to this point where it was like, oh, yeah, you don't need that many people in it to hit like your minimum income goal. And that was quite like, that was
Yeah,
nice to see. Like, you realize you could aim much, much higher because in this container that you've created that supports people really deeply, you don't need many people to smash past your income goal.
exactly. Yeah. And that
Cool.
was a nice thing to see because I tend to avoid, we talked about this as well, I avoid looking at numbers and that sort of thing. So it was nice to have that reflected and to not feel so stressed and worried about it because it's felt quite relaxed as well. It hasn't felt stressful and like salesy. It's felt really natural.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you felt that. So what's your like looking back over like 9 months? What's your biggest takeaway? What's one learning you've had?
Oh, one learning that I've had so many. Just having the right mindset, I think, has been a big piece, and just being more strategic with what I'm doing rather than just trying things for a little bit and thinking, oh, that doesn't work for me. I need to be a little bit more consistent with things, and even the word strategy itself, that word used to terrify the hell out of me. Whereas now I'm like, yeah, strategy. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. I'm doing this, and it just feels so much easier.
Awesome. Love that. So how would you describe like your experience of working together and being in Amplify?
Sorry, that bit cut out a little bit.
How would you describe your experience of working together and being in Amplify?
It's been such a supportive community. I think initially I felt a little bit overwhelmed because I thought, should I be here? Even because there's so many successful women in the program, but everyone in there is really, really supportive. And it was nice sometimes even just to sit back and observe and listen to what other people were talking about and the struggles that they had, the wins that they had. I know definitely earlier in the program when I would hear, oh, I just got people signed up to my program, I'd think, oh, I don't know if I'd ever get there. I don't know if that's going to work for me. But there was something about just, and I think you talked about this as well, just staying in your own lane and just trusting the process. So even when I had questions, everything was already in the content as well. So sometimes I didn't realize I had questions about certain things, and then I would realize, oh, I just need to just keep working through it, keep working through it, and everything made sense. So it was just being in that environment. Like I really enjoyed having the weekly calls with everyone, and yeah, just having that support, I think, really helped my mindset and to just keep me focused.
Totally. And like, it hasn't been a straightforward, easy path, has it? Like, this is like, often people say to me, how quickly can I take a group program to market? And like, how long does it take? And like, we're just getting to the end of our initial 9 months. And you had some like false starts, or like, you know, like the kind of the fear come up, and then like eventually like you move forward. But like, what I love about your journey is like, we're now at the place, like 9 months, you validated the offer, you've sold it, you're now in module creation, you're now looking at enrolling your next group of people like now, and we're at the 9 month point. And I just like making that clear to everyone, because everyone has different pace, and everyone has different mindset challenges and different schedules and all of this. And like, you found your own path and your own journey through that to get to the point where you're at today. I just wanted to raise that it's not been like plain sailing, has it?
No, no, it hasn't. And it felt like, am I taking too long? But it took as long as it needed to take, for sure.
And to be at the
Yeah.
point you're at now, like, it really does fill me with like joy. Like on our conversation just before this chat, we're like, you know, we've got 8 people in it. They're showing up to the calls. They're loving the content. I'm getting great feedback. I'm enrolling the next group. And like, this is the dream, right? This is the point where we get to where we can then just start bringing new clients in and serving at scale, and really having a scalable structure in your business where you can see how you can reduce your one-on-one and really serve in a container that brings you joy.
Absolutely. And I'm also fully booked with my one-to-ones. So, and that's not happened for a really long time.
Yeah. And this is like the joy of building momentum, isn't it? When you get in place your marketing and sales, and you have all of the clients come, not just the clients from the group, but the clients for the one-on-one as well. And that, I remember, it must have been just 6 months ago or something. That wasn't the story, right? We were having a very different conversation. You know, when the fear sets in,
Yeah.
and then where you're at now, it's all.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
final question: would you recommend Amplify, and to who?
100%. 100%. So for anyone who is like a service provider and who have been thinking about doing a group program and it's not getting the numbers that they want, or they just feel a bit lost with it, like this is 100% going to help you. The things that you teach in the program, it works.
Love it.
Like
And
it literally works.
and I have one follow-up question actually, because I feel like I get asked this a lot. How do you feel about having an evergreen program versus like a start-stop cohort program?
I really like the feeling of that, so that it doesn't feel like I'm limited and people can come in. It's quite a relaxed approach as well. I didn't really like the idea of launching, and I think sometimes you get taught tactics of, buy now, and like countdown clocks, and that was literally, I hated that, and I couldn't put my finger on why it felt icky to me. And so being able to find things that work for me and are in line with like my integrity and making me feel good, like that was a really big, just a really big selling point for me.
Awesome. Thanks so much for chatting to me today, and to everyone else. I really appreciate it. And massive congratulations on what you've achieved so far. Super excited to see what you achieve in 2023 as well.
Thank you. Huge thanks to you as well, though, Gemma.
Thanks, Lizandra. Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. Right. Thank you, everyone. See you later, Lizandra. If you're watching and you're thinking, this Amplify sounds awesome. I want to create a group program. Just DM me the word Amplify. Let's have a chat around whether this could be the right next step for you. See you later. Bye.